Bets. We are live from runitOnce.eu for day 14 of the Galfond Challenge. David versus Goliath, clash of the titans. High stakes. Heads up for rolls with Phil currently down a casual $750,000 European dollars. Yeah, a couple of people in the chat mentioning that he is currently down, 37 buy-ins. We were just talking before our mics were live that it's not a case of, trying to win this challenge now. It's just a case of trying to get a couple of wins under your belt and minimize losses as much as possible. I mean, how do you approach these swings yourself, Andreas?
Well, these larger swings as they, I guess, occur in heads up, especially when you're playing a very, very competent opponent that might be even better than you, then they don't occur as much in the games I play. I play a lot of live poker these days, but we have a very big hand.
Nuts on the second, sorry, nut flush on the turn for Galfond. 40,000 euro pot.
Yeah, I mean, Joey's also mentioning in the chat, like, Fader Holtz just posted recently on Twitter that he didn't win for the first few years. What do you think of that? Do you see that tweet?
I did. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's a really weird one to navigate because I want to try and get to the bottom of why he's sharing that. Like, I understand, it's to kind of motivate people, but 4 years without making money from poker, I feel like he was making money from poker, at least at a small rate.
Yeah, well, we see pot size jam from Venividi on the 4-card straight board on the right.
Clubs do brick coming on the turn, and he does call. Let's go. Galfond with the straight. Another 40,000 euro pot heading Galfond's way. Yeah, so nut blockers. I feel, I don't know about you personally, Andreas, but every time I try and run that bluff, they beat me to the pot. Their chips are in the middle before I've even clicked the bluff button, and I'm just hitting the rebuy button straight off the bat.
Yeah.
So
they're just calling. They just don't want to fold.
Hey, listen, you can't make money if you fold, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to make people fold, I feel like, in PLO, in those larger pots. It depends on who you're playing against, but I think it's generally not so easy.
Jay, I'm saying I didn't win for the first 12 years either. Just keep grinding. I mean, yeah, neither did I. We need some table name ideas from the people in the chat.
I got that on Fader, at least. Like, I didn't win for the first 3 years. Like, if he's serious with the 4 years, it only took me 3 years to win at poker. I mean, even though it wasn't a lot of money after 3 years, but it was a little bit. Yeah. But then sometimes it's good to wait for a few years and then just skyrocket and win millions.
Yeah, just don't win anything for 4 years, then just win everything.
I guess it was worth it to wait another year. Yeah.
Got another big pot brewing on table 1, and
very dynamic board. Yeah, I expect to feel not too bad fold there. And what do we have there? Double gutter and open ender and flush draw, but then he whiffs as Venividi did have a made hand, I guess. That's better than the king high.
A hand developing on table number 1, 3,000 euros in the middle, 10 of hearts, finding its way to the turn. Venny checking over to Galfond. Galfond with the pot size bet.
Yeah, this is an interesting turn card because, well, in heads up play, you have very loose ranges, but in 6-max, for example, a lot of the nut flush blocker type of hands, they would also have a straight sometimes with a king, right? So the amount of bluffs that he would be naturally using are generally less.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, yeah, you have some straights and you don't need to bluff those with a nut blocker because you have some showdown value.
Venny going with the check raise on the turn.
Like, yeah, apparently he's repping it now.
Yeah. Fell deep into the tank. Oh boy. Does repop it. 41,000 in the middle. If Venny calls, it's going to be a 60,000 euro chip pot.
It's a very surprising jam to me. It's basically saying that, I mean, that he has it.
Day 14 of the first match of the Galfond Challenge. Phil down 37 buy-ins, but up almost 14,000 euros on the day. There's been a lot of speculation, Andreas, behind who this European wonder kid Venny is, and had some people say that it's President Obama. I mean, it could be.
Could be anyone.
I would love to know.
What's the best guess? I mean, it would be awesome if at some point, yeah, he'd show his real identity. I mean, for a long time, Linus Love was also unknown to the public, and then eventually he showed up at live poker events. I think that's just happening to almost all the players at some point that they're saying, oh, you know what, I made enough money. I'm playing online poker. Maybe I'm killing my action here a little bit if I reveal who I am, etc. But at some point, maybe people get into the live poker scene. Maybe we will see Venividi at some point in a 25K pot limit Omaha event in Vegas. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. I've
maybe
got a lot of
respect
respect.
Those events. Yeah.
Got a lot of respect for people that get it quietly. There's a lot of wizards out there that are just making bank week in, week out. Yeah. Venny with the check raise on the turn over on table number 2, 33,600 euros in the middle. And Phil in the tank. Deuce of clubs rolling off on the turn. And Phil does go all in. So 54,000 euros in the middle.
Let's hope Phil has it here. And Venny has a deuce, Phil a boat. That will be it.
Yeah, Venny's only got to call off 4K. And there it is.
Phil has the fours.
Winning a 58,000 euro pot. Venny with he had the nut club draw on the turn as well as top pair. Back up towards that 50,000 euro mark. See Bob saying how much money you think he has. He says he loses money daily from his website. Yeah, but it's more like it could be a loss currently, but I like the way I see it is as a long-term investment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you cannot expect the poker site these days to just launch and make a profit in the first 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just too much competition out there. And then to get like new markets. Also, with I think one of the biggest struggles the poker site has is to get legislation happening in a lot of countries. Of course, not just the US, which has been a big detriment to online poker in general, but also a lot of these smaller countries which might have a quite a few depositors, but can't access them. Got a raise on table number 1 to 6.2k on this pair board after Venividi delay c-bets the 3-bet pot on the queen turn for small sizing. Actually, look these spots up. These are really interesting, those pair boards, because the 3-bet caller obviously doesn't end up having a lot of equity with a lot of his range, but about 15 to even 18% of the time he actually has trips on these 6-6 deuce type of boards. So the 3-better has a lot of over pairs and of these hands, but then in heads up you have so many trips combinations compared to 6 max, where sometimes you just don't play the smaller cards as often. So the trips frequency is very high.
Big pot, 50,000 euros in at the middle. Galfond with the pot size bet on the river, and no snap call is somewhat concerning. Only has to call 2k to win 50k.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
pretty concerning.
Pretty concerning to say the least. I mean,
yeah, basically saying
assuming Venny gonna have a ton of queens with the YOLO emote in the chat. I mean, maybe Galfond with a hand like, oh wow, Sai, what a river. What a river. Galfond did have a boat on the flop.
Yeah.
And Venny rivering a bigger full house. You know what, another 20 days or so, if they start upping the amount of hours played, towards the end of the challenge, just to get it completed.
Pretty much expected like 2 months of play with breaks, right? With the days off of the challenge. Yeah,
that's a good point actually. Yeah, so probably another 3-4 weeks makes sense. And then what match are you looking forward to the most out of all the challenges that are coming up? For me personally, I've always been a big fan of Brandon Adams, just like his demeanor at the table, and the way that he's just like willing to rumble with some of the best in the world. So I'm looking forward to those 40 hours of high stakes, live pot limit Omaha. Probably going to be streamed from either, I'm assuming, Canada or Vegas.
I mean, pretty much all of them. I can't really pick one for certain. I mean, Action Freak is going to be really interesting because there's also the other online player plays like the most next to Venividi, I guess. And Jungleman's going to be, by the way, 25k pop. Maybe talk a little bit about that one.
Spades and clubs, brick. Venny with the check raise on the turn.
I think King Jack gets there.
Does get there.
If
just over a pot size bet behind for Venny.
Now it's interesting, like how many bluffs Phil will pick from the busted draws that include a jack or a king, right? But are not a straight at the same time and have maybe not a pair or
He does bet pot, and someone mentioned it earlier on that 200 big blinds deep, 50,000 euros in the middle. If Venny calls, it's gonna be a 76,000 euro pot. They go deep into the tank on. Does make the call.
Venividi has so many bluff catchers here, and Phil actually has the bottom of his draw, the 6-8-9, that he picks as sort of the natural bluff. I wonder if Phil is allowed to limp in that match, because if he can limp, then he could maybe eliminate some of those issues that he would have if he was just raising and then playing lots of 3-bet pots and stuff. Then it's going to be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I was going to say it wouldn't surprise me to see him limp, close to 100% of range. If he was to like drop 10 buy-ins, for example. But I think like starting off with the challenge, I think he's just going to play his game.
Just normal. Exactly. Yeah.
Reevaluate, if he does like, drop 10, 12 buy-ins to then start implementing like a limping strategy and just keeping the SPR as high as possible post flop, and just using what he'll probably think is his post flop edge against the Thirst Lounge. Got to be a fun one for sure. It's going to be a fun one. Oh boy.
Running once poker, you're gonna see
big
those. Yeah.
Pot on table Bustang, and Phil with the 2-pair and the gut shot holds. Is JD, the laziest. It says, I remember the Red Sox beating the Yankees down 3-0 against an amazingly talented team. I saw the Patriots come back from 27-3 in the third quarter on the biggest stage. It's going to be one hell of a comeback story. Hashtag Galfond challenge. So I will be messaging you, JD, directly. Get that 25 euros credited to your account. Just want to jump back into the action, Andreas, on table London. 14.4k in the middle. Benny going for just over third pot on the King, Queen, 9, 2 spades board. A board that I feel like is going to connect with Phil's 3-betting range a lot. Snap call. Phil needs a spade, and spade ball on the river. 44,000 euro pot. Heading Phil's way. Venny flopped middle set, I believe.
Yeah, with aces and queens. And
secondly, just having time off from your own game to earn, like that bit of income on the side. I don't see that being a problem in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, I mean, there's always many sides to this, and I've spent plenty of time thinking about these topics as well. Like, if somebody is paying you a certain amount for coaching, then that natural incentive for you not to coach somebody, is basically paid for, right? Because for free, why would you do that? And then it's always like, okay, yeah, sure, you can always give some information for free, but the question is always how much, right? And so also on my YouTube channel, I tend to talk more about general topics of poker, but I'm not gonna put out a video that's going to go super in depth about something that I would do for my own game, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just gonna jump into the river. Table London, couple of straights getting their 10-8, getting their Queen 10, getting their pot size lead from Phil after calling a bet on the turn.
Yeah, a lot of straights got their 10-8 and the Queen 10, and
in the tank makes the call. 10-8. Phil with the second nuts. There we go. Let's get it.
Has it. Again, on the right, tricky board for the 3-better, I would say, because of the 3-bet caller having somewhat large distribution of trips, 3s and trip 6s. Now the river Phil bets pot. Let's see if wow, Venividi goes and jams, and I think he was the 3-better, so let's see what Phil ends up doing here against this check raise all in on the river.
Just going to reset the one table where they are 200 big blinds effective. Background saying next challenge you versus Stapes at Pigeon Stakes on Run It Once. Tyler saying Tonka was surprisingly competent with his PLO knowledge during the commentary. Clear, he just has a good poker mind. Yeah, for sure, man. You know, just like understanding equities and board textures. And talking of board textures, pretty dry one on the 984 Rainbow. And it looks like stacks are going to go in the middle, set against top and bottom. And Veni's set of eights going to hold. It's been a swingy day today, but mainly been in the green almost the entire day so far. More TBC apparently coming to Malta tomorrow. Feel free to knock on my door, bud. Stir up some cocktails. A couple of people in the chat saying that they hope to be a pleb one day. Everyone has different dreams. Each to their own. Bit of a pot developing over on London, 8.4k in the middle, 8.4k on table one as well. Paired board, hearts out there, straights out there. Board pairing on Bustang, both flush draws missing. 8.4 in the middle on both tables. Phil with the pot size raise on London. Veni with the pot size bet over on Bustang. Oh boy. Veni with a check raise to 34,000 euros.
I mean, yeah, 16k effective.
And Phil does make the call. King 5. Veni rivering a bigger
King
full
6,
house.
5.
That's so brutal,
yeah.
man. So sick. That's it's a tough one to swallow. Like, I understand obviously both of them turning nuts. That's 6 on the river, giving Veni the nut full house, and I mean, I believe that means our hero is in the red for the day, coming close to the end of the stream. $25k pot. Go to Phil. Just, we're trying to give away money on stream throughout today. Got a pot developing over on Bustang as well. 8.4k in the middle. Very deep. Could potentially have an 80k euro pot. 8.4 in the middle. See how Phil proceeds on the 5 of clubs turn. Does bet pot. 16,800 out there. This could make or break the session. I'm going to be wrapping things up in about 10 minutes time, I believe. Setting up a river jam. If any decides to just call. does re-jam over the top. 50,000 euros in the middle. If Phil calls this off, could be one of the largest pots of the challenge so far. Does tank fold, and another one going Venny's way. Looks like the boys are typing good game into the chat. So I believe that means after these hands, we're going to be wrapping things up. We're going to be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central European time, 4 p.m. GMT. Some more high stakes pot limit Omaha action. Day 15. Been an absolute pleasure calling out the action for you guys and girls back home. Appreciate the trolls, appreciate the constructive criticism and the kind words, and a lot of support and love still being thrown Phil's way, even though things are not going his way so far in this match. And loses the last hand of the night. Venividi taking it down with Jack high flush. Guys, massive shout out to all of you. Been absolute pleasure calling out the action for you guys, and a massive shout out to runitonce.eu for not only sponsoring this event but putting out this content